Hi there, this is Juan George from Mookl Product Development. I have been working on these parts for the last couple of years, 3 years, 3.5, and I've been giving an update every year about how I started and how I'm, how I'm going and what you can expect from the product. Last year, I was still selling these two models, the rigid one and the performance. The rigid one, I decided to leave it aside. It was the very first model that I started with when I didn't really know um, what was needed for this product. It came as a question from another customer because I actually do rapid prototyping and reverse engineering as a hobby. So when I started, I didn't know what materials work best. So the rigid, I decided to cancel it, and the performance was just too expensive, and I wanted to I wanted to find a better solution for for the performance while keeping its own material properties. And so I was very busy casting them. I made molds and I was able to vacuum cast them, uh, um, learning from each um, each trial. Um, but they were still very expensive because they were very labor intensive. Until last year, around May, that I started using this new 3D printing material. It's based on TPU, and this thing is just amazing. This thing does exactly what you need it to do, and it almost resembles the original one quite well. Honestly, I think it might be even better, but that's me. Okay, so for this video, what I want to show you all the models I have. I want to show you what the new updates are, and I want to show you how you choose the right model for your binding. All right, let's get to it. So here we can see different models. Right there, you've got a custom, a mission, an older mission. That's another custom, but it's a newer custom. Over there, you've got the P1 Carbon, the Lexa, and I believe that's the Stiletto. A very important thing to know is that most of them are very similar to one another. You would almost say that most of them fall in the category of type A, what I called type A. But type A and type C have pretty much the same design. If I show you this, for example, you can see they're very similar. The only difference is that type C, because of this extra padding, needs to be slightly higher. And so that's exactly the difference between the two toe ramps or gas pedals. And the same goes for the medium for the medium size. It's just the height that changes. Then you've got what I call the type B. Type B is the older binding. Usually they're called customs Ltd or missions, and it's all also very similar, but it's much longer. And so that's the main difference between these models. And then you've got a totally different model. That's a P1 Carbon, and the P1 Carbon, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, the P1 Carbon is a totally different model. Now I know there is a mission that has a combination of the P1 Carbon and this design, these what I call pillars, because they slide in this railing. They have the P1 carbon design, but these indexing points are very similar to the missions. And then we've got the Lexa and the Stiletto. The Lexa and the Stiletto, again, it's the same design. It's the same design. The only difference is the padding on the Lexa. There are some escapades with this padding as well. You see this extra padding, and that makes that the toe ramp for the Lexa has to be higher than the toe ramp for the Stiletto. So what I did, instead of keep using the names of Burton, is I decided to give them type names. So the type A is the normal mission toe ramp. Then you've got a type B, which is the older mission toe ramp. We're talking about 2015 or earlier. Then we've got the type C, which is very similar to type A, but it has that extra padding. And that's usually for models like Triad, like Cartel, like newer missions, like newer customs. Then we've got P1 carbons. And so far, I've not been able to find any other model with this specific design. It's a very specific design. I like it because it's very rigid, because it's very small. It's very rigid, so the feedback on your snowboard is much more direct than, for example, this one, which is very long. And then we've got these two again. They're similar. Many times Stiletto comes in the size S and Lexa in the size L, but they still share the same design. So a very important thing for me this year was to be able to offer a product that actually works. You know, the foam didn't actually work. It would come off. The older rigids. This one, but also the very old one, the very first one. If you went for more than, let's say, 3 weeks on a row, snowboarding every day, doing high jumps and stuff like that, they would probably break. With these, I can assure you, these things, nothing will break them. I mean, just look for yourself. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want. As a replacement part, this is exactly what you want. And so I test them at -20. I test them in UV. These materials can go up to plus 70 degrees, I believe. So even if you put them in the car and it gets very hot, nothing will happen to them. Yeah, this is very nice. Another cool feature that only the performances had is that right now, like with these rigids, I don't know if you can see it properly, but there was no bridge. And that bridge is important because it makes this part, which is a cantilever, it makes it more rigid and more stable. Because of this material, it is now possible to create that bridge, and so it goes all the way down. Because it's 3D printed, it doesn't need a what we call in Dutch lossingshoek. I'm not sure how we call it in English right now, but a lossingshoek is that angle that you will find in most products. It will go up like that, in that direction, usually between 2 and 5 degrees. Because it's a 3D printed, it doesn't have that. And that's actually a very interesting plus point as well, because it will keep its stability between these two railings throughout the whole length. So what you see with the original ones is that they will bend eventually, and they will only be here holding there, and more to the front, because over there is more material. And so if you have a longer foot and you bring it up to its maximum point, you will only have this part that already has an angle in it. So that's another plus point for the 3D printed part. Another update for this year is the reflexes. So the reflexes have this joint, this clicking joint. And it's very hard to reverse engineer it. In fact, I had to do it in different steps. And then eventually I decided to make slight changes in the design, because it's very hard to press this foam as well in the right shape. This thing is, I believe it's either pressed or it's injection molded. Not injection molded, just molded, but under high pressure. Anyways, so I don't have the one I made for the customer. She left with it already. But with this new material I have, because I use Formlabs as well, with this new material, it's finally able to perform well in these environments and still clicking. The thing with the reflex bindings is that you need to remove the binding if you want to use the board for another purpose. It's not like these. Like if you want to remove these bindings from a board, you just remove the disc and you can leave the toe ramp on it. In the case of the reflexes, you need to remove the whole thing, and you need to unclick this mechanism, making it very hard for me to reverse engineer. But since this year, I believe, Formlabs launched this crazy good material that made it possible for me to make these parts. If you look at this is 3D printed. This is fully 3D printed. And the original one, let me take it. This is the original one. I mean, it's very similar, and it will perform almost in the same way. Yeah. So this new material is, I'm really happy with it. And also, as a last bonus from this year, I started making my own stump pads. I've got two basic designs. I'm still deciding in which color they will come. Honestly, I like the blue one. A colleague of mine already took the orange one, which is very nice as well, and the white one. This is the black one. And I was playing around with a bit of gold. Doesn't look that nice, but I'm just playing around a bit. Also, what I said before, we're working on a riser system. And the idea is that this will be the dampening underneath the riser. So the board will come here. Then you'll be able to position this part at the right angle using the holes. And on top of it, this disc will be, you will attach the disk of the binding of your old bindings with this disk, and that will create one unit. We're still working on it. There are still some flaws. We've been testing, and we're not happy with the whole with the whole design, but we're working on it. And the idea is to keep using these great bindings, because these old bindings are way better than the new ones. And so that's it for this year, I guess. Um, Overall, I can say that I'm very happy with the development. People are very happy too. The price has gone down. Um, the products are performing much better, which is, as an engineer, it's probably the most important thing, that your product actually performs the way you want it to perform, and that people can keep using your products without throwing them away. You know, if you look at this design, it's made to last, and the only thing failing are these little parts. And this project started as a way for me to find out if it's possible with digital manufacturing and rapid prototyping to I don't know, elongate some products, their lifetime, um, and to push it in the direction of something useful. 3D printing has this image of being a toyish technology, and nothing is further from the truth. I believe by doing this, this is a very, very good sign of the capabilities of 3D printing. And so that's it. I hope you liked the video. I hope it was informative. I will make another video, maybe not in this one because this one became very long, explaining how to choose the right binding, because for doing that you need to use the drawing on the web page. And if you do so, then I'll be able to help you out. I will always ask you also if you checked for the right fit, but if you did it already, that's always faster. All right, thank you all, and have a good night wherever you are. Bye.